You know exactly what's happening. Silence is not empty. It has weight. There are echoes of unspoken words, of omitted gestures. Those who hurt you now find themselves cornered in their own lies. They distance themselves, hide, fall silent, and you observe, perceive, reflect. The pattern is clear. You hope that something changes, that an apology comes. But the truth is that nothing changes when responsibility is thrown to the other side. Those signs you ignore, they are glaring. Every absence, every neglect, every forced smile. What was love has transformed into indifference. The connection you still believe exists is just an illusion. It's comforting to think there could be a return. But time shows that silence is the greatest form of communication, and that message is raw and unfiltered. You convince yourself that it's just a phase. You deceive yourself into believing that the relationship is worth the effort. But when someone truly cares, they don't make empty promises, they act. Being present is an act, not an occasional choice. Reality is harsh. They pretend not to see and you pretend not to feel. The bond persists because you insist on maintaining it, not because it's strong, but because you're afraid to let it go. You're not stuck. You're standing still. And standing still is also a decision. As long as you continue to ignore the signs, this cycle will repeat, and any hope of change will be just a distant echo. Decide whether you want to keep accepting this. There is no magic in transformation, just the possibility of seeing reality as it is, and that truth has already been presented. The cost of remaining in inertia is higher than you suppose. With every passing day, you bid farewell to small parts of yourself, moments that could have been lived, laughs that were not shared, dreams that turned to smoke, and instead of facing this reality, you choose to cling to a past that no longer exists. Do you remember the exchanged promises? They were vibrant, loaded with emotion. Now it sounds like an old song, a melody playing on a broken radio. Distorted memories where the chords have been lost in time and disillusionment. Meanwhile, life moves on. Hours pass by, days accumulate. The world around you keeps turning, but you are paralyzed in a cycle of waiting and justifications. He ignores, slips away, avoids. And you justify, seek explanations, idealize moments that will never return. And when the pressure builds up, you find yourself rationalizing everything. You say it's not that bad, that fights are normal, that everyone has problems, but the truth is, you no longer see. You don't notice the corrosion of your own essence. You have become a spectator of your own life, a mere spectator among laughs that no longer sound genuine. Look, the signs are there, scattered like fragments of broken glass. A text that goes unanswered, a high that gets lost in the air, the lack of interest in how your day was. All of this weighs down. And what do? Ignore it. You know you deserve more. You know you are strong, but you find excuses. The fear of breaking bonds, of dealing with the pain of separation, keeps you immobile. Even knowing that what binds you is an illusion of security. Loneliness is uncomfortable, but it has become more familiar than the feeling of abandonment. You get used to the absence, to the lack of connection. Over time, you learn to live with a heart full of unspoken words, of hugs not received. This realization is terrifying. The acknowledgement that you are investing in something that does not grow, that does not flourish. It's a wound that doesn't heal, a love that wilts under the cold light of indifference. And then you start to see the patterns even more clearly. He comes back at strategic moments, always with a practiced charm, suggesting conversations that go nowhere. And you get excited. You believe the words. You search for meanings where they don't exist, as if it were possible to rewrite the story. But what you really do is just prolong the agony. The bond you maintain is not love. It's adaptation. It's comfort in pain. It's the quest for familiarity, even knowing that it does not bring real joy. You ignore the inner voices that alert you to this truth. They scream that it's time to act. But what do? You silence them. Behind your decision to stay, there is a dense layer of fear. Fear of being left, fear of not being enough, fear of the unknown. Each of these fears pushes you deeper into denial, and it becomes a vicious cycle, a maze where every exit you try leads to more confusion. The people around you notice, but you hide it. Friendships drift away. Your eyes lose their sparkle. Life feels like a repeated movie with familiar dialogues that tire you. Yet still you stay, convinced that change will come from the other person. One day he will realize what he lost. He will come running after you. But that's just a fairy tale you tell yourself. Transformation doesn't come from empty promises or passive hopes. Nothing changes if you continue to let the other define the value of your presence. Their silence is deafening, and you need to hear it. Stop believing in rhetoric. The message is clear. The path will only change when you decide it's not worth it anymore. That's the turning point. That's the moment reality sets in. When the decision to hold on or let go becomes merely a matter of emotional survival, every moment you hesitate, you lose more time. It's not about making the other understand. It's about understanding yourself. What do you have to lose? What do you have to gain? The truth is that freedom may lie in letting go of what no longer serves you. The reality has already been presented. You know the facts. Now the choice is yours. Listen again. What if I told you that this state of waiting is a form of self-sabotage? Each passing day, you become a hostage to your own uncertainties. Fear whispers that maybe everything can be different, that love can shine again, but that hope is just an echo of something that no longer exists. Look around. You have built walls around you, strong and impenetrable. The illusion of control you thought you had has turned into a prison. And in this closed space, what grows? Resentment, bitterness, a cycle of self-deception that makes you believe it's your fault, that you should have done more, that you should be different. You feel it, don't you? A constant murmur in your mind, questioning every choice, every word. Emotional blackmail turns into a silent mantra. Broken promises become embedded in the walls of your memory. They do not disappear. They only accumulate, creating a weight that is hard to bear. Each time he appears, even if just for a brief moment, you feel a mix of hope and despair. Hope that something will change, that he will finally see what you have always tried to show. Despair at the reality that this may just be another illusion. The same patterns repeat. He comes back, brings sweet words, promises changes, and you dive in headfirst, seek meaning where there is none. If the silence is deafening, the promises become an attractive sound, almost hypnotic. But observe, empty words have no substance. They don't take root. And you continue to wait, to live for moments that never materialize. When was the last time you truly saw yourself happy? In moments that did not involve expectations or adaptations? When did you allow yourself to be yourself, without the burden of pleasing, changing, or striving for someone who does not recognize your worth? That time seems distant, like a dream lost in a sea of disappointments. The truth is that loneliness has become a familiar companion, not an emptiness filled with love, but a space where you learn to survive among the shadows of your own desires. What you need to understand is that this pain is not part of the process. It is merely a sign that you are losing yourself, day after day. Each melancholic moment you live alone is a reminder that life is passing by while you find yourself paralyzed. The world out there does not stop. It continues to spin, full of possibilities, new connections and opportunities. But you remain stuck, wrapped in a cloak of nostalgia that grows heavier each day. And what if he does not return? What if the silence is indeed the final answer? Have you asked yourself these questions? The objective truth is that waiting is a form of abdicating your own happiness. Life is not a line to be waited in. You should not wait for someone else's approval to feel whole. Expectations are poisonous. They corrode your essence, distort your self-image. You start to believe that you need to be someone different, that you need to fit into molds that were not made for you. But think, who are you beyond the expectations you have absorbed? Where is the pure, unadulterated essence that once existed? In this vicious cycle, you end up sacrificing the best of yourself for a love that denies you. And this denial perpetuates itself. Each time you accept less than you deserve, the universe responds in kind. He ignores, belittles, underestimates, and you wait, accept, remain silent. It is time to face the raw and harsh truth. Life does not wait, and neither should you. You don't need to be a hostage to a narrative that no longer serves you. Each day you decide to remain in this dance, you drift further away from true satisfaction. Freedom is not in conformity. It resides in the ability to choose for yourself, to decide that enough is enough. Remember, the choice to stay or leave is always yours. The cost of remaining in the belief that everything will change is much higher than you imagine. And then, when you finally decide to look in the mirror, what do you see? A shadow of what could have been, or a vibrant spirit, ready to start anew. The reality has already been presented. Now, The responsibility to act is yours. Listen again. The truths you ignore are the first steps to regaining control over your life. Change begins when you decide to stop waiting and start creating. What do you have to lose? In reality, you have much more to gain. Open the doors of this labyrinth and allow yourself to walk towards the light. You believe that waiting is a form of love, but that belief is a trap. With each passing day, you become a weaker version of yourself. What once was passion is now a shadow, a faded memory that haunts your thoughts. He doesn't see, he doesn't feel. He doesn't understand what you sacrifice in the name of this deteriorated connection. And you continue to juggle between hope and despair, with each unreturned smile, with each affection that doesn't come. You created an emotional labyrinth where only you got lost, and the echo of that emptiness becomes louder. Friends begin to notice. Conversations turn into monologues. Meetings dissipate. What remains is an echo of a self that no longer knows how to feel whole. The absence is not just from the other, but of your own essence. It's an invisible but palpable wear. Meanwhile, social networks tell stories that aren't yours. Perfect lives, vibrant loves, genuine laughter. And you wonder, where is my moment? Where are the real exchanges? Then you click, slide, see and feel. A pain that is not only yours, it is collective, but you carry it alone. Those faces on the screens don't know about your struggle against loneliness. They don't know the days when you wait for a message that never arrives. Those moments when you find yourself laughing to yourself, but the smile fades when you realize it's just a mask. You fear what might happen if you cut ties and face the unknown, but know that staying in this cycle is what truly imprisons you. The truth is, you have gotten used to living on the surface. What could be deep has become shallow. Long conversations have turned into superficial interactions. Whispers of love have become echoes of lost promises. You feel isolated in the midst of a crowd. This feeling is like a weight that keeps accumulating, suffocating the ability to breathe freely. When was the last time you did something just for yourself? Something that didn't involve someone else's approval? An activity that brought you genuine joy, where you didn't feel obligated to justify your happiness? These small choices have slowly been lost. What remains is a cycle of waiting and adapting. You adapt to the lack, to the absence, and what could be a space for growth becomes fertile ground for insecurity. It's clear that freedom will not come as long as you continue to give others power over your emotions. And then when the memories become heavy, you realize nostalgia is not a shelter. It is a burden. It weighs on your shoulders, attacks your heart. You accumulate fragments of memories that don't bring satisfaction, only wear and tear. Memories of moments that were never fully lived. The promises he made become an unbearable mantra, a repeat of unmet hopes. You wonder if one day he will realize how much he lost you, but the reality is that he has already forgotten about you. He is part of the past, and holding on to him is like insisting on wearing tight clothes that no longer fit. Every gesture of yours, every act of love, turns into a worthless coin. And you ask yourself, how long will you accept this? How long will you feed a flame that has already gone out? You look at the marks left on your soul and realize that each of them carries a piece of your original identity. What do you desire? Freedom or imprisonment? Accepting what is less than you deserve or fighting for what could be? The struggle is internal. It's a constant battle between the known and the unknown. And when you finally decide to set yourself free, what do you find? A new world full of opportunities, or simply a return to yourself? You need to understand that changing is not an act of selfishness. It's a vital necessity. Your eyes can open to new possibilities, but that requires courage. A courage you didn't know you had. To look into life's mirrors and see the truth bare and raw, that is what you need. Thus, the choice stands before you. To leave this inertia that consumes your energy, to cut ties that no longer serve you, and to fight to rediscover yourself. What needs to be released is not love. It's the illusion that anything less than true love is worth it. You should no longer live on the fringes of your own life. So take a deep breath. Feel the weight lift off your shoulders as you make this decision. Every step you take towards freedom is a sign that you are finally allowing yourself to exist fully. The echoes of your inner voices become clearer. The truths that were buried begin to emerge. And they say that you are worthy of a love that elevates, that illuminates, not a love that subtracts. Now the reality has been presented. The path is open, and the choice is yours.